Your fantasy football question now. Text ESPN and your fantasy football question now as we get ready for week number 7 in the NFL. Thursday Night Football tonight on 97.3 ESPN. It is the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. With that, we bring in our fantasy insider, Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com. Each and every week he helps set your fantasy football lineups with who to start, who to play, who are some of the sleepers this week. And Jeff, let's start off with tonight's game. We got two teams that are not really known for their offense, so which players should be active in the game tonight?
Well, I think Seattle is where you got to look for the offense tonight. So you're looking at Russell Wilson, maybe some Jimmy Graham, definitely Marshawn Lynch. San Francisco, the one weakness that the Seattle Seahawks has is against tight ends. It's a risky play, but if you're going to play somebody from San Francisco, I do like Hyde at running back, but a sneaky play is Vernon Davis at tight end.
All right, throughout the week, people send their fantasy football questions in to us, and, of course, we'll ask about those players here. Let's start with the quarterback position where we have some questions about Carson Palmer against the Ravens. He's had a really big game, big season so far. What do you think about Palmer against a Ravens team that's typically very good defensively?
Well, this year they are not good defensively. They are one of the worst teams against the pass in the league, and I love Carson Palmer this week. Now, John Brown, his hamstring tightened up today. He could be good, ready to go for a Monday, but I love Larry Fitzgerald. I love Carson Palmer. I love Michael Floyd. I think Carson Palmer could push for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns Monday night.
All right, let's go to Drew Brees. He's had an up-and-down year. He's playing the Colts this week. How about Brees? A lot of people wonder, should they stick with him?
I think you should, and I think that the Saints are starting to move the ball. They looked pretty good last Thursday. They capitalized on some blunders by Atlanta. And that could be enough to get some motivation and get some momentum going for the Saints. I think Drew Brees, his shoulders getting a little bit stronger, and his short to intermediate routes are looking pretty good.
How about Eli Manning? Tough week against the Eagles. He's been a pretty good fantasy player this year. You're going to bounce him back against this Cowboys team that a lot of people like their talent, but they've been giving up a lot of points on defense.
They have. The one thing I'm really worried about for the Giants right now is they don't seem to have any healthy receivers. So I'm really concerned for Eli. He's been kind of patchworking some offense together the last 2 weeks. Turnovers bit him last week. But I think that the Dallas Cowboys coming off of a bye are probably going to run the ball down the Giants' throats and really establish the run.
Talking with Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Continue to send your fantasy football questions in. Text ESPN and your question to the number 89,000. All right, a lot of people might have jumped on Bradford in the Eagles offense. They thought, man, this is going to be a big stats for him. Are you giving up on Bradford as a week-to-week guy? Or a weekly play, I should say.
I think you have to. I think his interceptions have not just looked bad. They look terrible. They're just terrible decisions. Bad throws in the end zone, the red zone, just killing drives. The Eagles still scored 27 points last Monday, but they should have a lot more. I don't trust Bradford right now at all.
All right. How about, here's an interesting name, Josh McCown. He's been putting up a ton of yards, Jeff. He's going against a very good defense in the Rams. Do you trust Josh McCown?
This week I like the Rams defense a lot more. I know that Gary Barnes should look good at tight end, but I think St. Louis is going to run the ball, play a lot of good defense. And I think Cleveland's in a very tough matchup this week.
All right, some running backs here from Jeff. Of course, the running back spot got some buys this week. I know Matt Forte, one of the big names that's off. But how about the rookie Todd Gurley? Now we just talked about that Rams team. Are you starting to think that Todd Gurley's a good play?
Love him this week. We have him as the number 2 running back this week right after Devonta Freeman. That's how good of a matchup this is. Cleveland can't stop the run. Todd Gurley, he had 30 touches last week. And his head coach, Jeff Fisher, thinks that, he's not 100%. So if he gets to 100%, I hate to imagine, 50 touches for him? I think he's a great play this week.
A lot of people asking this week about Christine Michael. So is he the back that you're using in Dallas?
I don't trust Dallas for one running back just yet. Word out of Dallas that the offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, was quoted today saying there's big changes coming, but he's not promising a full workload of Christine Michael. So I think you'll see some McMichael. I think you'll see some Randall. I think you'll see McFadden. Probably 10 to 12 touches for all 3 of those guys. So fantasy-wise, not a great week, but Dallas will get a lot of running this week.
Melvin Gordon had the fumbles last week, but should he be active this week?
Well, he should be active for the Chargers, but I don't think that he should be active for your fantasy team. I think that Phillip Rivers throws the ball way too much, and they're going to throw the ball regardless of who's healthy. Antonio Gates will probably see a ton of targets. Keenan Allen is healthy. You'll see another large amount. but they just don't run the ball very well and very effectively. And when they do get the ball in the back's hands, it's usually Woodhead out of the backfield and catching the ball.
All right, Charchandrick West last week, a lot of people thought he would be the guy, and he seemed like he had the more touches, but you're going to play him this week against the Steelers.
No, and the Steelers' defense is playing pretty solidly. Kansas City, it's going to be rough, especially if Macklin can't suit up because they're using concussion protocol. That's bad news for the Chiefs in general. There's a lot of questions on health on both sides of the ball with Big Ben if he's going to play this week. I don't trust any backs for Kansas City right now. They just don't have a good enough offense to go around.
All right, let's go over to the wide receivers questions. Dante Moncrief against the Saints. He's been a guy he had a good start to the season, kind of lull in the middle. What about this week against the Saints?
Well, that lull in the middle seemed to coincide with Mr. Luck being out for a few weeks, so I think that kind of ties together. I think that he'll be back right into the swing of things against the Saints, and we have him as a top 20 wide receiver for sure this week.
Will Snead, he's a guy that people were going off the waiver wire. He's starting to feel comfortable as a wide receiver 3.
I think he is, and I think he's starting to run those underneath routes. He's helping out Drew Brees. Again, you can't throw the ball too deep right now, but that's adding bonus to Snead's targets, and he's getting a lot of Darren Sproles and Marcus Colston targets that used to go around for the Saints.
How about Martavius Bryant? He had a big week last week. Do you think he can post that again against the Chiefs?
Well, that's the tricky thing. Again, you could be looking at Landry Jones starting, who looked pretty good, but and it should be known that Kansas City gives up a lot of points to wide receivers, but Martavius Bryant is a boomer bust kind of guy. I love him much more with Ben Roethlisberger under center.
All right, let's get to a couple of quick questions for Jeff from the listeners out there. Text ESPN and your question to the number 89,000 each week. We'll ask Jeff. Let's start off with this one. The listener wants to know this week, Phillip Rivers or Andrew Luck?
I go with Rivers. San Diego's all about the pass.
At 500 yards last week. I guess this one seems kind of easy, too. Rivers or Bradford? Rivers. Over here, how about Christine Michael or Tevin Coleman? I need a flex player. Ooh, those aren't great options, are they?
No, those are some tough options. I would go with Christine Michael because he's getting a lot of talk, and that usually leads to something.
All right, we got time for one more question here for Jeff. Let's go to this one from Mark. He wants to know, is Brandon Cooks at the Cardinals a better play or Golden Tate?
I like Golden Tate. I think Matthew Stafford showed he's starting to come around. I think Tate's a solid play.
All right, he's Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com. Once again, your fantasy football questions. He says he told you tonight, don't forget, get your Seahawks and Steelers in or out of the lineup tonight. And, of course, every week on the Sports Bash here, helping you with your fantasy football questions. Jeff, good luck to you, pal.
Good luck to everyone. Enjoy the games.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com.